Hello and welcome to 5 Elements Line Dance. Today we'll be talking about how to repair the eye and ear strings in your lion. For a quick recap, you have this master string that is tied to 4 other strings. When you pull this master string down, your lion will blink and the ears will go up. So looking at the mechanics of this is the ear. When you pull the string, it moves this metal circle here and it'll flap the ears. Same on the other side. For the eye strings, it actually has a pulley sort of system. So the eye is actually here and it's open, and when you pull the string it flaps it closed like that. So if you look at this one eye, it will move in that fashion. Now in our Taro lion here, we've added pulleys, and I do recommend that you do this because this will prevent the string from chafing and or burning, because that's what tends to happen with our lions. You notice that the ears don't have that pulley system, but if you think about it, if you're constantly pulling the string, it's going to cause friction at that point, and eventually most of our strings snap. That's where they snap and we have to repair it. We found that with a pulley it causes less friction and therefore we don't have to repair it as often. Here we have Matcha. You'll notice that Matcha does not have a pulley and just has this sort of metal loop for the pulley system to work. So if you watch here, you see how the fabric there, or the coil, it looks really frayed, and you notice that's the only part that keeps touching that metal. So eventually it will snap due to the friction. So what I'll do today is I'm going to take off all the strings and just restring it and show you how that's done. This is corduroy, so it's coiled as you can see, and it's made out of cotton. We do recommend using nylon if you can instead. It burns less with the friction. The Taro that I showed you earlier has nylon strings. So I'm going to do just the right side on its own for a while so I don't lose sight of where I need to tie my strings. You'll notice here that we have a metal coil again. This is the master string that we tied to the frame. So you have this left string here, the right side, and everything's held together by this coil. Inside Taro, we actually tied the master string to these 2 strings. So it's up to you whether you want to do that or not. I'm just going to start with the ears. You can start with the eye if you want, but I'm just going to tie a hard knot. So I have a knot from the ear. It's going to go through this middle point, and then through the pulley part of your lion. Okay. So you see how it looks just like the left side now. And finally the eye is over here. So you want to thread this through. So we can get that knot through. Okay. Just make it tight. So now I have the string in place. I want to tie off the eye end to complete the right side. I don't want to tie it off all loose like this, because what will happen is if it's loose like that and I try to pull this master string, it's not tight enough. You can't really see it here, but my eye is only half closing because the string is so loose. You want to make sure you have it not super tight, but quite tight. Now, remember when you tie knots and things, the knots eventually will loosen over time, so you want to give it just a little bit of tightness. So now when I pull this string, my eye will close all the way. Okay. So I want it about there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a piece of tape to where I want to cut this cord, and then I'll cut it. The tape is because this is corduroy, so again, if you can see here, it's coiled. If you cut that, it's going to unwind the coils from one end, so your string's just going to start undoing itself. So we put the tape there just so it doesn't unwind. again, make it slightly tight, and then just finish tying your knot. Now VJ, can you back up the video just for a bit and see how I'm actually holding the line? So if you have someone that can hold the line for you so you don't wreck the horns and the ears, that'd be ideal. If not, I'm placing it on my thighs but off the floor, and I'm using this elbow to keep it from the weight from falling back into ping like that. But it's easier if you can have someone hold it for you. Actually, I will leave the master string since it's fairly intact and not quite frayed. You run a string through here and you just tie it to the frame. That's all it is. So here we have our line strings back. And we're just going to flip it around and make sure that it actually closes and the ears come out properly. This is what I do if I don't have anyone to watch for me. Just put it on your lap. Alright, so you can see that side closes good. This side doesn't quite go all the way. So that means my string is not tight enough. So we'll have to redo that one. As for the ears look pretty good to me. They're going all the way out. Pull it. Just now, the lion's right eye wasn't closing all the way, it was going halfway, so I've retightened that string. But we found that it's still not closing all the way. So this is a little more advanced, but generally when you string these, you want them to be equal. So if we're looking at it now, it's pulling quite equally. Look at the top where the pulley sections are. The strings are about the same distance apart, but one eye isn't closing all the way. So what that means is, you see these metal portions here? They can also bend and deform over time. They're quite soft actually, you can bend them with your hand. So for this right eye, we just need to pull it a little more to close it all the way, like that. Now the eye's fully closed. So basically, I just need to make this even tighter. So it's going to be a little lopsided. This line's quite old now, so that's probably why this is not as strong anymore. So we need it, you can't see it from here, but I can feel it. It's closed now all the way, so I need to give it a little, that much tighter so it's not so loose over here.